the station that's on your side. Breaking news.
This half hour, we do begin with breaking news just coming into our newsroom. Officials tell us there is an active structure fire happening right now in North Augusta. The address is somewhere on Chalet North Court. There are at least 3 people with injuries, we're told, possibly more.
Right, that call came in just about 30 minutes ago. We do have a crew on the way. We're also hearing from officials that another fire is happening, this one in Edgefield County and Clarks Hill. Dispatchers tell us a garage on Acorn Knoll Drive is on fire. Crews are still on scene there. No injuries have been reported again in North Augusta. We're hearing possibly 3, maybe more. Of course, we'll keep you updated as soon as we get details about either one of these situations.
And we continue to follow that breaking news out of Washington at the U.S. Capitol. An officer and a suspect are both dead. In the last half hour, police have released the name of that officer involved. He is an 18-year veteran of the Capitol Police Force. His name is Billy Evans. The suspect, Noah Green, is from Indiana. Right now, police believe Green rammed the car you see there on the screen into those 2 officers at that barricade. They then say Green lunged at them with a knife, and that's when the officers opened fire, shot at Green, and killed him.
Suspect exited the vehicle with a knife in hand. Our officers then engaged that suspect. He did not respond to verbal commands. The suspect did start lunging toward U.S. Capitol Police officers, at which time U.S. Capitol Police officers fired upon the suspect.
We are continuing to update the story out of Washington. We'll let you know just as soon as we get any more updates about that incident that happened today there in the shadow of the U.S. Capitol. Also today, 1st to 5, Major League Baseball pulling the All-Star game and the draft out of Atlanta. The commissioner says it's in direct response to Georgia's new voting bill.
We're still waiting to hear from officials about where that game and where the draft will go next, but plans to honor Hank Aaron and donate to Atlanta charities will go on as planned. Ex-Bamberg Councilman Trent Kennard pleads guilty to buying a gun while under felony indictment. He made that plea in court yesterday. He faces up to 10 years for the gun charge. Sentencing is coming down at a later date. Kennard still faces charges for sexually abusing minors. Those, we're told, are being handled separately. Kennard faces a lifetime sentence if he's found guilty of those sexual abuse charges. All right, taking a look outside.
First alert forecast.
Thank you, Riley. Today, players in the women's amateur got to practice at the world-famous Augusta National.
Oh, it is such a treat for all of them. We have some women from right here in the 2-state who are competing to win the tournament tomorrow. Our Nick Proto got to speak with the ladies on their experience at one of golf's most treasured courses.
Tomorrow, the top 30 golfers from the week will compete for the title of top women's amateur. But today, all 81 women got a chance to play a practice round at Augusta National. Among them, South Carolina's Pauline Russin-Bouchard. She's the number 3 amateur in the world, but sits in a tie for 14th after 2 rounds. She leads our local players, but she's not the only one still in contention. Her fellow Gamecock, Anna Pelaez-Trevino, and Georgia's Katarina Don both made the cut as well. They've all got a lot of work to do. They're at least 5 shots behind the leaders. And when asked about the course, Pauline kept coming back to one word: perfect.
I didn't really have any expectations, except, I was expecting something perfect, and it is very perfect. I almost didn't want to leave my broken tee on the tee because it was so imperfect compared to everything that's perfect. I was just like, okay, I'll just put it in the trash.
Pauline called the day a balancing act between getting to know the course and feeling the course. Coming up on News 12 at 6 o'clock, we'll hear more from her as she tries to make a final round charge.
I think Pauline has the right idea. It is perfection out there. Now, with the women playing at Augusta National today, traffic is going to be picking up along Washington Road, especially around the course. So heads up if you're heading that way. It's a little different than previous Masters. The I-20 exits onto Washington Road, those are going to stay open this year. Berkman's Road will stay a 2-way traffic street instead of going 1 week like it normally does during the tournament. Engineers say it's going to feel more like a busy rush hour no matter the time, but officials will monitor and make adjustments as needed.
The Red Cross is calling on us to help victims from the Noonan tornado. The town was devastated by deadly tornadoes, destroying homes and lives. Right now, you can donate to the Red Cross. We'll have all that information for you on our website.
A Monetta man in jail after allegedly breaking into the Aiken County Animal Shelter multiple times to steal a female dog. Deputies say 64-year-old Donald James is charged with 5 counts of second-degree nonviolent burglary. We're told he started breaking into the shelter as early as February 2019. Each time, they say he reportedly stole a female dog for inappropriate reasons. James is being held at the Aiken County Jail. The sheriff's office says he could face additional charges. South Carolina School Superintendent Molly Spearman speaking out about vaccine requirements. She says even after the vaccine becomes available for kids, the state will not likely require students to get one.
I don't think it will ever be required. We certainly would strongly encourage, just as we do with any vaccine, that families take that precaution before their children enter school. But I don't see it being required.
Spearman says they will not require schools to have a virtual option next year, but if schools choose to have a virtual option, they can do that. If masks are still needed next fall, Spearman says schools will enforce that rule as well. Now, for those looking to travel, the CDC is offering some new guidance. They say if you are fully vaccinated, you can travel without much risk to yourself. They also say quarantine and testing are not required for people who have gotten the vaccine. That's for domestic or international travel. If you have not been vaccinated, they still recommend quarantining after traveling for 7 to 10 days. Officials say they still don't recommend non-essential travel, citing rising cases in the U.S.
The daughter of Martin Luther King Jr. speaking out today against Georgia's voting bill. Bernice King says there is some good in the bill, but it doesn't outweigh the bad. King takes issue with the change of the Secretary of State's opinion. She also supports boycotting corporations.
When you talk about taking away local power and removing power from the people's elected official, the Secretary of State, there's no excuse for that. And corporations can do what is necessary to ensure that these kind of things don't happen.
This week, Governor Brian Kemp called the boycotts ridiculous. The governor also says the bill makes it easy to vote and hard to cheat. Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie
Real estate investors have noticed some trends are changing because of COVID. During the pandemic, a lot of us were stuck in the house for long periods of time, and so now home buyers are looking for more space, more amenities.
A few years ago, I would have a client say, I think I'd like to put a pool at my house. My answer to that homeowner a few years ago is, if you would like to put a pool in the house, do it for yourself. Don't do it for resale. If they can't leave the house, they want to be able to have a home office, a home gym, a pool, recreational area for their family, and enough space for extended family.
Another trend real estate agents are seeing is how quickly homes are being bought right now. In Savannah, for example, they're seeing a lot of people moving from the Northeast to the South. Pair that with lower interest rates, you get a highly competitive market. But even though it seems to be a seller's market, agents say not as many homes are being listed.
A lot of economic uncertainty about where we're going. A lot of people have entered into forbearance maybe, and so they're just kind of sitting tight.
So coming up here on News 12 at 6 o'clock, we take a closer look at the rising competition in the housing market right here locally. Home buyers facing a challenge with homes flying off the market these days.
Big news out of South Carolina. Governor Henry McMaster announces a new PGA event heading to the state. It's being billed as the Palmetto Championship, and it starts this summer in June. Governor McMaster says the tournament is a big win for South Carolina.
This presents our state, our people, with a lifetime opportunity, one that will not happen again. We have the opportunity to tell the South Carolina success story in a new way to new people and showcase our state and its successes to the world.
The tournament will make for 3 PGA events in a row, with the Heritage at Hilton Head this month and the PGA Championship at Kiowa Island in May.
Remember when we told you about the Suicide Squad filming at the old law enforcement center on Walton Way? Well, look at this. Now the new trailer's out, and there are some shots in here you might recognize. The cast is star-studded with Idris Elba, Margot Robbie, John Cena, even Pete Davidson making an appearance in the old LEC there. So, yeah, it looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's really cool to see, to look for movies now, especially like when The Mule came out looking for Augusta.
Yeah.
But this is going to be easier to tell it's Augusta, I think, than some of the shots in The Mule.
I think that creature was licking a window in our old LEC.
I guess so. I've never in a million years thought I'd hear you say that, but yeah, there you go.
A great source of pride. coming to a theater near us soon. Okay, coming up right here, we're going to dive into Georgia and Florida's 8-year water war now that the Supreme Court has ruled in favor of the Peach State. So what does that mean for us and for Florida's oyster industry? Coming up.
Get to next Thursday, and then past Thursday of next week, those rain chances do start to go back up.
Riley, thanks a lot. After 8 years, the water war between Georgia and Florida has a resolution, at least for now, with the Supreme Court ruling in favor of Georgia.
Florida officials say Georgia's use of waterways between the two states is crippling their oyster industries. Georgia officials believe they have been more than fair with their water usage. Kristen Casper gives us the latest now from D.C.
Georgia has first claim, but Florida wants its fair share. Florida contends its upstream neighbor is soaking up too much of the water that flows from Atlanta to the Gulf of Mexico, decimating Florida's oyster industry. The basin battle boiled over this week when the Supreme Court dismissed Florida's case.
I'm very pleased that the court decision was rendered in Georgia's favor.
While Georgia Representative Sanford Bishop breathes a sigh of relief, Florida Rep. Al Lawson said in a statement the decision has failed the state of Florida. In her 12-page decision, Justice Amy Coney Barrett said Florida was not able to prove its case. However, she didn't exactly let Georgia off the hook.
I thought she did a very nice job of, on the one hand, Florida, you didn't prove that whatever Georgia was doing was actually injuring you. At the same time, she was saying to Georgia, don't take this as though you're free to just use as much water as you want.
Georgetown law professor Hope Babcock says cases involving competing state interests are often complex and can last a very long time.
Should the United States sovereign be in and boxing the ears of one sovereign versus another sovereign, and they don't like to do that.
This likely isn't the end of the southeastern water war, though. As other cases float around the lower courts, Professor Babcock adds this.
Whiskey's for drinking, water is for fighting over. Wasn't that Mark Twain? I don't think water wars are ever really over.
Reporting in Washington, I'm Kristen Casper.
And Justice Barrett said in her opinion the oyster collapse remains the subject of scientific debate, and the judges lack the expertise to settle that issue. Updating our breaking news just into our newsroom, officials tell us there is an active construction fire here at North Augusta. This is a live picture coming to us from Chalet North Court. We understand there were 3 people injured, possibly more, but it's still a very active scene as we look live in North Augusta. Can't really see any fire structure from here that might be involved, but this is about as close as we can safely get for now. We'll let you know just as soon as the situation changes there on that breaking news out of Aiken County. Mental health apps are gaining popularity, especially since the pandemic hit. There are apps that let you connect with a therapist at any time, day or night. They come with HIPAA protections and are more secure with your data. But there are also breathing exercises and apps that let you chat with an iBot. An AI bot, I should say. Experts say those apps are not as secure. Some of the apps share your identity with third-party apps like Facebook.
A lot of these apps operate in a gray area where the app itself isn't covered by the law. The fact that you're seeking help or seeking care for mental health could be a piece of data that's used for targeted ads or ending up harnessed for other purposes that you might not be comfortable with or at least aren't aware of.
Even when apps say they protect your privacy by identifying the data, it can still be linked to your phone or IP address, so they can end up in the end sending you those ads.
A big question about the vaccine for expecting mothers. How safe is this? Well, coming up, we'll show you new research showing the effects of the vaccine for both you and your baby.
It's the Ashley.
Some positive new research coming to light about pregnant women and the vaccine.
And while the data is limited, doctors are seeing women are able to transfer their antibodies to babies through the umbilical cord. Wrdw gives us the latest.
OBGYN Dr. Jessica O'Connell has been caring for patients during the pandemic while expecting her own new addition.
Truly, I'd been crossing my fingers and waiting and hoping that the vaccine would be ready sooner rather than later. I was thrilled when it became available.
She got the COVID vaccine during her pregnancy and 2 months ago gave birth to her son, George. The doctor was part of a new study at Northwestern Medicine looking at 27 pregnant women who received the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine in the 3rd trimester.
Women who received the vaccine in pregnancy did exhibit a similar immune response to what we would anticipate in the non-pregnant. There was fairly robust transfer of the antibodies into the umbilical cord blood.
Lead study author Dr. Emily Miller says women vaccinated sooner in the third trimester were more likely to pass on protective antibodies.
For those folks that are on the fence, that are in their early third trimester, that are not sure should they just wait until after delivery, these data suggest that not only is there the incredibly important maternal benefit of vaccination, but there also is probably an additive benefit to the baby of going ahead and getting it earlier.
As a mom, that feels amazing, knowing that George has a little bit extra protection. He has 2 older brothers who do go to school, so between my career and our personal lives, there's only so many lifestyle things we could do to protect him.
Researchers also show that breastfeeding can perhaps pass some of those antibodies. Doctors are finding that, again, breastfeeding mothers can pass it to their babies, which is amazing. Riley?
All right, if you're wherever you go, from the station that's on your side, breaking news.
Good evening. We're continuing to follow breaking news tonight out of Washington, D.C., where a U.S. Capitol police officer is dead after being hit by a car at a barricade there.
Tonight, that officer has been identified as Officer William Evans. He had been with the department for 18 years, and this was the scene there just in the last 30 minutes or so. It is still a very active scene there. Investigators say 25-year-old Noah Green hit Officer Williams and another officer with his car before driving into that barricade you see right outside of the Capitol. The car's still there as they investigate, as they photograph, and try to get to the bottom of what happened here. Authorities say Green got out of the car and lunged toward other officers, and that's when U.S. Capitol Police returned fire. Green was shot. He was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. But this is the second time in less than 3 months, as we all know, a U.S. Capitol officer has died in the line of duty. The incident raising a lot of questions about securing the Capitol complex. Fencing that was put in place after January 6th was just recently removed, but authorities say that fencing would have likely blocked cars from the area where this all happened.
Also breaking this evening, some live pictures from North Augusta. We're talking about Aiken County here, where fire crews say there's been a heavy fire burning in North Augusta. These pictures just coming in from our crew on the scene there at Chalet North Court. The call came in about an hour ago there. That's just off Knox Avenue by CVS. Dispatch initially told us 3 people were impacted by the fire. We don't know what way they were impacted. We're working to find out about the extent of those injuries and if those folks are okay. We'll let you know as soon as we get more out of North Augusta on that. We're also expecting temperatures to drop again tonight.
And it was cold enough for most of us last night. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale standing by. So how low?
In that First Alert forecast coming up.
Thanks, Riley. The final round of the women's amateur is tomorrow, and today we're hearing from a local golfer who made the top 30.
That's right. She's a student at the University of South Carolina, just up the road. News Channel's Nick Proto live now in the studio with what this tournament means to her.
South Carolina's Pauline Roussine-Bouchard is a top 5 amateur golfer in the world. As a member of the French national team, she's played all over the world in international competition, but today she got her first taste of Augusta National. After playing the first 2 rounds at Champions Retreat, the top 30 women's amateurs will finish up the tournament at Augusta National. But all 81 got a chance to play a practice round on the course today. Among them, Pauline Roussine-Bouchard, who currently sits in a tie for 14th.
It's a tough course. The greens are like roller coasters, long, especially with this wind. I think it's going to be a different wind for tomorrow, but with this wind, definitely more difficult.
The Gamecock sophomore sits 5 shots back of the leaders, but knows anything can happen at Augusta National.
It's 5 shots, and on this course, I would say it's not nothing, but anything can happen. I'll definitely go for it and have no regrets at the end of the day.
Pauline says she expected the course to be perfect, and it delivered. And with the steep mountain to climb tomorrow, she's going to need to be perfect too. She says in college they only get 1 practice round before a tournament, so she's used to limited time on the course. But no matter how much practice you get on the most famous course in golf, a little more could always help.
It's a balance to find between, getting to know the course and feeling the course. And it's hard to find in 5 hours, obviously.
Pauline says she didn't even want to leave her broken tee on the tee box because it was imperfect on the Augusta National aesthetic. Coming up later in sports, Mike Yakachonis is going to have more on the women's am as they prepare for tomorrow's final round.
Definitely know what she means out there. It is flawless. Okay, if you need dinner ideas tonight, just take some notes from Dustin Johnson. Here's a look at his Champions dinner menu. He's serving pigs in a blanket and lobster and corn fritters to start. So, I mean, who doesn't like that? I don't know anybody who doesn't like a pig in a blanket. For the main course, filet mignon and sea bass with mashed potatoes and vegetables. They'll finish off with peach cobbler and apple pie with ice cream. Of course, DJ from just up the road in Columbia, South Carolina, so that's some good old Southern cooking there. The Champions Dinner traditionally held the Tuesday of Masters Week.
No one will object to that menu right there. Traffic plans for Masters Week officially in place now, but since there are fewer patrons this time around, there are some scaled back changes. The I-20 exits onto Washington Road, those are going to stay open. Berkman's Road will stay a two-way street throughout the week as well. Traffic engineers say it'll feel like a busy rush hour, but they'll be monitoring the roads from their cameras to manually control traffic lights and deal with any backups.
The Special Olympics is a big day in Saluda usually, but this year a big hole is being felt throughout the community. Saluda High School losing one of its own just 2 days before yesterday's big ceremony.
Saluda High School telling us the 9th grade student Kenner Perez passed away from complications from muscular dystrophy.
And our Celeste Springer talked to one of his teachers who says he was a lot more than a student. He was family.
In Saluda, high school sports reign king, and support for all the Special Olympians out there is no different.
Our entire town comes together for our athletes, and our entire town comes together for our Special Olympic athletes as well.
Kenner Perez was one of the many who typically competed, but he didn't get to see the passing of the torch this year.
Losing Kenner is a tremendous loss because here at Saluda, it's more than just a school. We are truly a family.
But Kenner's presence is still felt here at Saluda High. Down the hallway, you'll find his signature on the wall, pledging to be kind and compassionate. It's a pledge teachers say he lived up to.
Kenner was king of the one-line zinger. He had a great personality, a very comical side. He was always very respectful and friendly to everyone.
Kennedy says it was a tradition during the Special Olympics for students to take a victory lap together. A friend of Kenner's says next year's lap will be more meaningful than ever before.
When I was talking about his passing, he said, I'll always remember taking that victory lap alongside Kenner each year. And so we just kind of consoled each other and said that from now on, he'll still be taking that lap with Kenner, just in a different way.
Kenner isn't completely missing here at Saluda High. It seems instead he's just passed on the torch. Celeste Springer, on your side.
And our thoughts certainly with his family. And because of COVID, the celebrations for the Special Olympics were held virtually and competitions were canceled. But the district says they are really looking forward to being able to host next year's under normal conditions. In the meantime, they say staff and students are brainstorming a memorial for Kenner to go somewhere in the school.
Well, if you're looking for a COVID vaccine appointment, University Hospital has several clinics lined up on the Georgia side. If you're 18 or older, they're going to be administering Moderna vaccines April the 7th and again on the 20th. They're going to have Pfizer clinics on the 13th and the 29th. That's for everyone 16 and older. For another look at the dates and times and the links to sign up, head to the website, wrdw.com, and then search University.
If you're on the South Carolina side, don't forget about DHEC's vaccine locator. All you need to do is enter your zip code, and then it'll pull up the closest places you can go get a vaccine. It shows you if there's available appointments and which vaccine will be administered. You can find that at vaxlocator.dhec.sc.gov. Lots of important dots.
There it goes. // semicolon. Add that too. The housing market is hot right now. While demand has never been stronger, supply has never been lower.
Supply is so low, realtors are seeing houses go within minutes of hitting the market. And as Cindy Heinberger explains, it's a phenomenon local realtors say they're seeing for the first time.
This home here on Caldwell Circle went on the market yesterday. And already the realtor tells me they have 3 offers and showings every 30 minutes today. It's just a testament to our current real estate market. It all comes down to a simple idea: supply and demand.
There's not many houses on the market, but more buyers.
Broker Ryan Stanton says the supply of homes on the market in the CSRA has decreased 14% over the past 6 months. Prices, he claims, have increased 5%.
Houses are going for over asking price, no appraisals. Buyers are willing to do just about anything to just get into a home.
Sante Martinez knows the struggle firsthand. She just moved into her new home, but had to pay $5,000 over asking and compete with 3 other offers.
It was just really nerve-wracking as far as that, because didn't know if we would be the ones to be able to get it or not.
Low interest rates are driving buyers to the market, and low supply is driving prices higher. Buyers are waiving appraisal contingencies, and realtors worry we may see a housing crash like around 2008, but they believe it won't be nearly as bad.
In '09, appraisers were appraising these houses at way above what they should. Out here, the appraisers have gotten wiser, and they're pricing these things fair.
And because of this short supply, realtors say if you're thinking of selling your home, now is a great time to do it. If you're looking to buy, they say, just be patient. Reporting in Augusta, Sydney Heiberger on your side.
Solid advice there, Sydney. Thank you. Dozens of local activists speaking out today against Georgia's new voting bill. The group, the People's Agenda, say the goal is to get more people registered to vote and know their rights. Officials from the Board of Elections, Board of Education, Commissioner Jordan Johnson all showed up to help out. Coming up here at 11 o'clock, we're going to hear from them and how they plan to make voting more accessible despite these new restrictions.
Taking you out live now to the Laney Walker Farmers Market, where its spring grain opening is underway. They've been set up since 4:30 with some fresh food, live music, crafts for the kids, and that market will be open the first Friday of every single month. And this is pretty cool. They double SNAP benefits, so shoppers get $2 in market tokens for every dollar they spend. So you really double your money. Since opening, the market's seen more than 800 customers, sold more than $5,000 in goods. But you can see not a lot of people out there yet, so great time to scoot out there for this grand opening.
We're going to tell you about some big plans in store for Gray Television. That is our parent company that owns News 12 and NBC 26.
And we're actually headquartered in Atlanta, just down the road, but now Gray is expanding its footprint in the Peach State even farther. The company just bought 127 acres in Doraville, just outside of Atlanta, with plans to transform it into what it calls a studio city. This is pretty cool. Check it out. We're talking apartments, a hotel, office, and retail space. That's on top of 10 state-of-the-art television and movie production studios, and even an e-gaming facility. So this is 2021. E-gaming is hot.
Yeah, and there you go. This campus coming soon to the Atlanta area. And yeah, they're our parent company based in Georgia, and it's great that they have invested so much here in this building, and they're doing special things in Atlanta as well.
Yeah, just up the road. And our CEO, Hilton Howell, says it is a great move to show off everything that the South has to offer.
My vision is to have something that shows the best of Georgia in all of the best ways that Georgia can be shown. Local food, local produce, local restaurants, local businesses, you know, and show them how we do it down here in the South.
The site where all this is being built used to be a General Motors plant. That shut down back in 2008. The initial phase for the new project could break ground as early as this summer, and the plan is to wrap it all up within 5 years.
You know the deal. Complete the mission, you get 10 years off your sentence.
Okay, speaking of movies, Georgia has become, little Hollywood lately, and it's been a Hollywood-packed week here in Augusta. We had Mel Gibson in town, and now we're getting a look at the new trailer for The Suicide Squad 2.
It's just out. You may remember part of the filming happened right here in town at the old LEC, the Law Enforcement Center on Walton Way. You might recognize some of those jail scenes you see right there. The movie is expected to hit theaters, August the 6th.
We are going to all be watching. Okay, Riley, how cold are we going to get tonight?
We are expecting some places to get down into the mid to upper 20s early tomorrow morning. Take a look at those freeze warnings in your first alert forecast next.
Plus, it is Good Friday. We're going to show you how the river region is celebrating this Easter weekend. And they're not your typical stars, but these local med school students are stepping in the spotlight, how they're saying thank you to our healthcare heroes. Nothing says thank you quite like a clean car. Today, several local businesses teamed up to give free car washes to people who work at Doctors Hospital. Volunteers have been out there all day long, starting at 8 this morning. They just wrapped up in the last hour or so. They say it's their way of giving back.
Being able to come out and show the support of all the people that are keeping our country, our world running is just, it holds a special place in my heart. To be able to show them just a little bit of the appreciation that we can is just means the world to us.
It's a great gesture there, whether it's a car wash or a catchy tune. Thanks for pouring in from all over for our local healthcare workers who are right there on the front lines.
And we're so glad people are still celebrating these healthcare workers. They have been working so hard. News Channel's Wrdw is showing us how some students at the Med College are showing their support with a song.
For Andy, Roger, and Tyler, this music video was created with a purpose.
It's supposed to make you feel something. It's supposed to put the things that you can't put into words into something tangible. There were so many people that were sacrificing in every aspect: teachers, nurses, doctors, responders, and they're just, they're giving it their all.
They say since the beginning of the pandemic, all they wanted to do was help.
Wanted to channel that frustration and try to at least, share that we understood what was going on. Training these emotions of being alone, being tired, being exhausted, to let those who are watching know that they're not alone. We're in it with you. I was getting photos from across the country from people I wasn't reaching out to, and they just wanted to be a part of it. Across ages, across generations, we were getting messages that really made my heart full, and it was beyond what I expected. It made us feel that our message was received.
They say out of all the hours spent and all the sleepless nights, if they were able to bring a smile to at least one person, then it was all worth it, leaving students, families, and all frontline workers with one message.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for everything you've done.
Wrdw, on your side.
How about that? Med school with a music video on the side in their spare time.
Yeah, these are smart people, so we know they can make it happen. But so far, the video has nearly 6,000 views on YouTube, and we have the full video posted on our website and our app if you want to watch. But yeah, I'll have to go check that out.
A great tribute there. Let's have a live look outside. I believe we have the medical district right there in St. Sebastian Way on a nice-looking Friday afternoon. But guess what, Riley? We're in for another group.
Well, it is Good Friday, and services are underway. We headed over to the Church of the Good Shepherd a little earlier today as people gathered to worship there. We're just 2 days away from Easter Sunday. We know a lot of you are excited to have some sort of celebration this year after last year's Easter was pretty much totally virtual.
Taking you back now live to Washington, D.C., where we are following that breaking news this afternoon. Here's a live look near the nation's capital, where a U.S. Capitol police officer lost his life this afternoon. Officer William Evans was hit by a car driven by 25-year-old Noah Green. Green was shot and killed after lunging at other officers after he ran them down. And he apparently lunged at them with a knife from earlier reports. It's the second time in less than 3 months a U.S. Capitol officer has lost his life in the line of duty. Again, live video out of Washington where you can see crews on the scene clearing and cleaning that scene, getting ready to open it back up there. The barricades will stay in place, of course, but we're going to keep watching that throughout the evening, and we're back after a quick break.
Injured?
On your sideline, sports brought to you by the Hawk Law Group.
Huge news for Major League Baseball. Following pressure from President Joe Biden, there's a big change coming to All-Star Weekend. The MLB has decided to move the All-Star Game and draft out of Atlanta due to Georgia's new voting laws. A replacement location hasn't been announced. In a statement, the Braves announced they were disappointed and did not support the decision to move the game. After a wonderful 3 days at Champions Retreat, the Augusta National Women's Amateur has officially moved to the National. While everyone got to play in the practice round, it's all about the top 30 on Saturday. As a reminder, the full field did get to take part in the practice round, but only the top 30 will be the ones playing tomorrow. The pressure of playing has started to become more apparent as the women try to get mentally focused in.
It's going to take a lot of strength, a lot of mental power again. This course, again, is not easy. It's going to take beyond normal strength. I'm going to have to stay patient and strong.
We'll be following the final round tomorrow as well. Beautiful day for a doubleheader with Augusta softball taking on Columbus. Hannah Rose Corbin is one of the best players in Division II softball, showing us why with a clutch bases-loaded strikeout and then a home run that gets out of here in a hurry. That thing was fast the next half inning. Jags fall in game 1, 4-3, but win the second 10-1 in just 5 innings. It only took 2 days for the MLB to have a nitpicky review.